porch for a while. If I would have bolted, would you have something ready?
It was a great passage. Could have made it up.
Last night, Cindy went to bed early, like she always does. She always falls asleep way before I do. But one of the things that we've done in our marriage is we leave the television on. I hate that. While we fall asleep. And I decided to put it on a show last night. I put it on Ted Bundy, the Ted Bundy documentary. It's like six episodes and everything. Do you know that time when you fall asleep, but you're not really asleep, you know your surroundings? Yeah. Don't ever watch something like that. You have the craziest dreams. I think at one point I thought I was Ted Bundy. Scary, scary stuff. Anyway, that was your PSA there, public service announcement. As I was unraveling this passage, you know, it's such a deep passage, but yet it's so commonly. Everybody knows this is the love passage. You know, love is patient, love is kind. I think everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people use it in their marriage vows or in their ceremonies. But yet, it is so deep. There's such to unravel here about what he's saying. But at the end, he brings it all back together. In the end, there is faith and hope and love. But the greatest of these is love. And I spent a lot of time. One of the things about me is I go through these phases in my life where sometimes you can't get me to shut up. Okay, I read something and I tell people about it. I'm just wanting to tell everybody what I've learned. And then I go through other phases where I just want to absorb and absorb and absorb and absorb. And unfortunately, for me writing the sermon, in my case, I'm in an absorption phase right now. So when I got the scripture, I've been spending basically what is about 2 weeks now on this scripture, and I've just absorbed it and absorbed it and absorbed it, and took it apart and put it back together. And I think I said earlier, I actually had like a 12-page sermon for you all. And then I thought, no, that's probably not a good idea. You're probably going to get up and leave on me, especially since the toilets aren't working. But I broke it down a little bit.
Thank you.
I thank you. Hi, Mary. I come across this week. It's a tweet that the Pope put out. I get tweets from the Pope and from the Dalai Lama. I just love some of their quotes. This one's right up this passage. It says, "Only what is loved can be saved. Only what is embraced can be transformed." Interesting words. Before I actually get started, I need to say something to each and every one of you out there. I want you to hear these words that I'm going to say. I want you to imagine that there's only you out there right now, and nobody else is out there, and I'm saying these words directly to you, and you alone. Are you ready? I love you. I love you. Love is something that we do well, at least we try to do well here at Faith Family. Yesterday, we had a celebration of life for Nancy. And although Cindy and I came a little bit late, we got the time wrong. we were amazed at how many cars. And then when we came in here, we had to stand in the back a little bit to find a seat because the place was overwhelmed with people. And I think that just goes to show how much Nancy was loved and how much she loved us. I was hoping Lois was going to be here today, and I was going to tell her that as well. But that goes to show how much love is here. As I said the last time I preached, that is one of the things that brought me here, is love. Here in our passage, Paul shows us many ways that we can love. See, when I started out, I used words. I said, I love you. When all the people attended the celebration yesterday, they said, I love you with their actions. Here in this passage, at least the middle part of it, I want to just go the middle part. If I did the whole thing, we would go back to those 12 pages. We don't want to do that. But Paul shows us how we can convey our love in actions. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is slow to anger. It does not keep wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Did you hear that? He gave us 14 different actions that we can use, that we can say, I love you. You didn't think I was going to stand up here and not talk about a movie, did you? Watched a quirky movie the other day. You might remember it. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Anyway, I love to watch movies and be able to pull out the meaning to them. Pull out something that's they're trying to say to us. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures is two, what would you call them, brain dead? Teenagers that in the future they have a band together and they basically change the ideas of the world through their catchphrase, be excellent to each other. And I thought, wow, isn't that what Paul's saying here? Be excellent to each other. If we can embrace that, love each other, then maybe we could change the world too. I'd like to go back and I'd like to just touch on a couple of the things that Paul was pointing out. I was talking to Cindy the other day, and we were talking about how love is so intertwined with honesty and the idea of truth. It says, how can you say to someone that you love them, but then you lie to them? See, at least in my mind, when I lie to someone or when someone lies to me, basically saying, I'm smarter than you and you won't know the truth. Basically, you disrespect that person. So how can you say that you love someone and then tell them a lie? Now, I know it's been said that there's times when you have to bend the truth a little bit, maybe a little white lie, but because the truth is actually going to hurt the person. But that's not right either. They need to know the truth now. Because if you withhold the truth from them or you lie to them, eventually it's going to come out. then you haven't saved them from the hurt. You've only prolonged it. When they find out, it becomes twofold. First of all, they're hurt from the actual event or whatever happened that would cause you to lie to them. And then they're hurt again because someone that they trusted lied to them. To me, it's simple. If you love someone, you will always be truthful with them. Love rejoices in truth. Related to truth, I believe, is where the world is falling apart. And that's the lack of respect for others. Well, there needs to be honesty, more truth between people. We need to seek people as they are. We need to respect people who they are. And I have to say this, it's not in here, but when I wrote that and when I'm thinking that, respect people where they are. Love people where they are. You know, the picture in my mind right now is that guy, that young kid wearing that red MAGA hat, standing in front of that Native American. And Trevor Noah's on the Daily Show, and he's a comedian. But he said that you see that little smirk on his face, and you just want to punch it right off of it, you know. But think about his background, where he comes from. And obviously, if he is there, he feels a need somewhere in his life to be there. But we don't go and say, when you change, won't you come to our church? No, you go there and you love him where he's at. And what's the first thing? Love is patient. And you have to be patient with him if he is going to mature. That wasn't part of the sermon. That was an extra. But we need to be accepting of people where they are. See, what happens in our society today is people think, well, I'm not going to be accepted if I act like that. I'm not going to be accepted if I dress like that. I'm not going to be accepted if I have a beard and long hair. And it's not there yet, but I'm going to have a ponytail soon. Cindy's shaking her head. But the point is, we have stereotypes in our society, and we think people are a certain way, or because they act a certain way, or because they have something, that they need to change before we can love them. And so it turns around and people think, well, I need to look like that. I need to be like that. And they change who they are deep down in when they don't need to change. They just need to be themselves. Maybe that's why the young man wears that hat and he acts the way he did in that situation, because the people that he wanted to impress think he just needs to be that way. The 12-step process, 12-step programs, the reason why it works so well is because the first thing they ask you to do when you come in is tell why you are there. Open yourself up to these people. There's nothing that you need to hide from these people. Who are you? People that are successful in Alcoholics Anonymous or the Narcotics Anonymous, or any 12-step program say that they feel like when they come to those and they express who they are and why they're there, that a huge weight is lifted off of them. Those people they know see them for who they are. I didn't want to, I went back and forth, and I went back and forth on whether I was going to say this or not. And I didn't know if I had enough courage. But in the idea of becoming, if you will, an outcast, because I'm going to reveal something about myself, get your eyebrows down, that not too many people know about me. Cindy knows, my doctors know, maybe that's about it. But I struggle with depression. Depression is not what many people think. It's not the same as just being sad or feel trapped because of the situations you get yourself into. But sometimes depression is a chemical imbalance. Sometimes it's just a feeling that you can't shake. A feeling of ambivalence. You just don't care. Sometimes when I get depressed, I can lay in bed and lay in bed and lay in bed. I think just thinking off the top of my head, I think my personal record is like 20 hours just laying there doing nothing. Interesting thing is that you don't care about anything. Nothing matters. Cindy, interestingly, Cindy helps out a lot of times. I know she doesn't fully understand what I go through. And so some of the things she says and some of the things she does makes me really angry. But you know what? I'm angry, and that's a response. Don't tell her that. She'll probably try to make me angry all the time. But I'm not here to suggest or to educate you on depression or my point isn't that or try to get any sympathy. My point is depression is one of those things when you look at people and you say, oh, he has depression, then he's got a mental problem, or he's got this, or he's this way. And that person, many people hide those kind of things because they can't be who they are in society with that stigma on their back. We need to love people for who they are. Love them where they are. I got my pages mixed up, I'm sorry. In our society today, we all wear a mask, a facade, because we don't want people to know who we are, because we don't want people to know the real us. Crazy, but my long hair and my beard is my attempt to my social experiment in a way. This is what God gave me. He gave me this hair. He gave me this. This is who I am. We need to be able to accept who we are. And for people to come out and be who they are, they first need to be loved for who they are. Love is patient, love is kind. Love respects all. I had a little thing for the closing. I think I probably went too long, didn't I? Anyway, the other day, Cindy was telling me about a conversation that she had with our grandson, Ridley. And she said that they were talking and they were going back and forth, and he was telling who he loved. He loved his mom, loved his sister. She said she loved him. He said he loved her. And interesting story. He calls her Guys. Okay, Guys is not grandma, not grandmother, not Mimi or whatever. Her name is Guys. That came about when she would see him when he was younger. She would go, "Hi, Guys." And he would say, and then when she'd leave, she'd say, "Bye, Guys." And in his 1-year-old, 2-year-old mind, her name was Guys. So anyway, he says that he loves his guys and he loves his people. And then he looks at her and he says, "And I know Peepaw loves me, even though he doesn't say it." And I thought, wow, that made me take a pause. I was always grown up to think that you always let your words or let your actions be your words when it comes to love. You show people that you love them. Then the other day, my daughter came from Cincinnati, and she gets in the car with us, and we're driving. She came to visit to go to Hamilton. Any Hamilton fans in the audience? Anyway, as we were driving there, somehow she come up on the subject, and she said to us, "Well, I know Ed loves me, even though he doesn't say it." Wow. I guess I need to say it more often. See, sometimes our actions aren't enough. Sometimes people need the words, "I love you," kind of as a confirmation. You know, I see all these actions, but is it true? Is it really there? I leave you with this thought. Stop every once in a while and say the words, "I love you." But never stop showing